Hello, my name's Ben Page. I'm the Chief Executive of Ipsos MORI in the UK. We're one of Britain's largest research companies. I'd like to give you 7 simple lessons to think about when considering opinion polls, particularly in elections. The first is that actually, despite their challenges, overall the track record of the polls is pretty good, and they're really the best thing we have, despite their problems. If you look at Ipsos MORI's polls over the last 5 elections, despite the challenges, on average, our error for each party is about 1.6%. And if you look at my colleagues in France and in Holland recently, they've been very accurate in their various elections. At the same time, it's very important to remember that polls are never predictions. Pollsters might be making predictions, but the poll itself only tells us what people are thinking at the time the survey is taken. And if it's weeks before an election, obviously things can change. Third, do think about the margin of error. For all published polls, and indeed any poll, however well conducted, there is a margin of error of about plus or minus 4% for the ones you will see in newspapers. That means if a party's on 40%, it could be as high as 44, it could be as low as 36. My fourth point, watch the vote share, not the vote lead. In other words, how much of the vote is each party getting? Because if you just look at the lead, you could see a 4-point lead compared to a 7-point lead, and frankly, that is simply noise in the data. It is not a real difference. So look at the vote share. The fifth point. In elections in this country, with our first past the post system, national vote share, which is what you're reading in polls in the newspapers, is not a good predictor of seat share. There is not a direct relationship between the percentage of votes cast for a particular candidate and overall how many seats they will get in the House of Commons. Only the exit poll done for the BBC, Sky and ITV on the day does really give us that. 6, always look at the fieldwork dates for any survey. Things change, events happen, and depending on when the poll took place, that may have been influenced by that or not. You really need to look at that, because the publication date may be sometimes quite different from when the survey took place. Seven, of course, remember that opinion polls themselves, while fascinating, are much more than the horse race. Research can tell us about why voters are making particular decisions, why they're interested in the election, why they're not. Neuroscience can let us look at how their emotions are affecting their decisions. How quickly they decide to answer particular questions can now be measured. So there's a wealth of material beyond this simple horse race. So have fun with the polls, and remember, most politicians don't actually lie. But the one lie they do say is that the only poll that matters is the poll on election day.